What up, YouTubers? It's your boy, The Visionary, and welcome to another episode of Fireside Chat Preludes, bringing you the latest and current events that matter to me the most. Today's episode will be titled Geopolitics and a Game of Thrones. This video, the idea for this video, came as a realization after going over some information, basically articles, news clippings, and stuff like that. I was browsing online. I think I was on The Economist. Just pretty much now. I'm on The Economist, or I'm browsing the Huffington Post or New York Times, and I come across this article. I wasn't really looking for anything like it, but I don't know what it was, but it caught my eye for something. I don't know what it was. I maybe it was because it was chick's face or something like that. Whatever. So I catch the article and I'm reading it, and the article is basically about accusations being lobbied against this woman called Huma Abedin. And she's basically the chief of staff for Hillary Clinton, basically, like her own personal secretary. So something about this woman stood out. I didn't know what it was. Now here's the backstory to who she is. Before I get into the other backstory. Now the backstory is, this is actually the wife of Anthony Weiner. You know, and the backstory: Anthony Weiner is a senator, a senator, a congressman, and he while married to this woman, he still is, he was, taking pictures of his private parts and texting them to women of, different varying ages, and it got out that he was doing this, and he was basically cheating on his wife. So there was a big media circus, it was a big hubbub, they crucified him in the media, and he had to step down from office. So roughly a year or so go by, I think a year or two go by, and he steps back into the public limelight, and he basically puts in his contention for, I think, mayor or another Senate race. And he basically apologized to the public, and he says, "Yo, listen, I'm sorry. I know that I shouldn't have done this and that, but if you are willing to forgive me, I'm willing to, do what's necessary to do what's right and to do right by my wife." Blah blah blah. So as he's doing this, she, both together with him in conferences and interviews, as well as separately, she issued a statement that she is standing with her husband in support of him, even though he cheated on her. She realizes that this is an issue that they can work out, and she's willing to work it out with him, so on and so forth. So seeing that that issue, that the Weiner scandal is brought back into the public limelight, and it's one of those things that you brush off, like, oh, this is garbage, whatever, what the fuck is this shit? I don't have any time for this. This is not important. So then I started to notice a pattern, and you know me with patterns. And the pattern that I started to pick up is that every so often, like every few days, you start to see an article or some sort of, something from a magazine or a newspaper or online article about this woman, Huma Abedin. Now, on the surface, whether or not you pay attention to politics, or if you do, she's like one of those women that's in the shadows. You never really hear anything about her as far as politics or geopolitics is concerned. You know what I mean? This is one of the first times that you actually hear anything about her. And every time I run into her, it's something that's like, I don't know what it is, but something's bothering me about you. Like, I don't know why. And just the fact that there is a pattern that they keep bringing her up. Or there's constantly an article about her, like every 2 or 3 days, basically talking about literally a non-important person per se to the general well-being of the public. So I looked up a few more articles on her, and more particularly her name, because I didn't put the pieces together. Because the first part was, who is this woman? Oh, she's actually the head of affairs for Hillary Clinton. And then the thing that was funny is that, and I drew the connection because, this is actually Anthony Weiner's wife. That's very odd. Like, I don't understand, like, that. Why didn't I, put the pieces together about that myself? And then it gets deeper because as I was doing more research into her, connecting the dots, like, okay, she married Anthony Weiner. She's head of, she's basically head of staff for Hillary Clinton. So she basically is her number one person, her right hand man for Hillary Clinton. So you look at the scandal with Anthony Weiner, and then you look at the other things that are going on, and then you find out her backstory is that she's actually the daughter of the spiritual father of the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, this Muslim Brotherhood is basically this group that's call it a geopolitical group. It's a radical movement that turned into a geopolitical group in, I think, in the 80s that was actually started by the UK and Britain, the MI6, pretty much similar to what the United States did with Zbigniew Brzezinski, where he went into Afghanistan and Iraq, and he helped to create the Mujahideen that turned into Al-Qaeda to help fight the Soviets to kick them out. So you have the MI6 going into Afghanistan, Iraq, or one of these other Middle Eastern countries, and they create the framework for what would become the Muslim Brotherhood. And one of the original creators of the Muslim Brotherhood had given birth to a daughter, and this was this woman. So magically, she comes to the United States, she gets her PhDs and whatever, and then she finds herself at the right-hand side of Hillary Clinton at the corridors of power. And one of the ideas that's floating around, as far as the alternative media is concerned, is that they believe that she is part of an attempt to basically take over the Muslim Brotherhood and to use them as a pawn in the Middle East to gain control of all of these different power centers or all of these rogue regimes that do not want to play nice with the United States. In so doing, that causes a backlash or ripple effect where there are actual Muslim Brotherhood members who are in power and who do reach into the highest levels of power in the United States government, period. So as you see something like that, and that conspiracy runs around, my mind started racing. I'm thinking, going back to the Anthony Weiner scandal and looking at what he did, and I'm seeing something's funny about that, because every time I see a scandal, there's always some backstory that people more or less do not know, and you can always connect something to that. You know what I mean? So whenever you see a politician fall out of favor or steps down from office due to some type of scandal, it's usually because that scandal was revealed by someone on purpose. It just doesn't happen, you know what I mean? Because there was no point for, if he was, flashing, texting pictures of his penis or whatever, this dude's a United States senator or congressman, what would be the point of revealing that shit? You know what I mean? Because it had nothing to do with his job. It didn't affect how he did his job. You know what I mean? We're not talking about Spitzer. Spitzer was using taxpayer money. But even Spitzer, there's more backstory to magically how Spitzer got caught doing what he was doing. You know what I mean? Like, he was going after Wall Street. He was going after the bankers. This was before the actual crash. This was before people started to wake up and to realize, these motherfuckers is robbing us, and all the bailouts to the oil industry and all these other industries. You know what I mean? So it was opportune that if we're talking about Spitzer, he gets caught up in a lap dancing scandal where he's paying some strippers or whatever using taxpayer money, which coupled with the fact that he was going hard after Wall Street, like really hard, like on some real shit, because that was his job. You know what I mean? And if you actually go back in time and look at his campaigns and actually the cases that he was working on, he was going after Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Fannie Mae, or Mac, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and he was really going after them. Some of the shit, the things that we're dealing with right now in terms of all the cases that magically the public media isn't talking about, in terms of the LIBOR scandal that's been going on for years, in terms of the market mortgage rate scandal, the dividend issue that were going on, he was actually going after Wall Street about that, but they kept that out of the public view. Now that he's gone, specifically, that it went away and then it came back because other people who took his place said, there's a lot of corruption and bad shit that's going on, we need to stop this, period. So going back to Anthony Weiner, I look at Weiner and I'm sitting here going, let me get this straight. He was taking pictures of his dick, and all he was doing was cheating on his wife, whatever. That's bad, but I don't think that's something that you would, step down from power for, because it wasn't something that was talking about corruption. So he gets caught up in a scandal, right? and he has to step down. So he's out of the limelight. So now you have a man who held public office, a very powerful position, and his wife is, pretty much holds a position of great power in the United States government, and she's pretty much the right hand man of Hillary Clinton. And you have the rumors of her being the descendant or the daughter of the spiritual father of the Muslim Brotherhood, which is supposed to be our great enemy in the Middle East and some other bullshit, yada yada yada. This is coming out from a lot of sources. You look on Alex Jones and Glenn Beck, what do you call it? Green TV, Green Wave TV. What else is there? I think SGT Bull Market. All of these places that are into this, the alternative media, and politics, and geopolitics. They brought this fact up, like, yeah, yo, look at her history. She's the daughter of the guy who was one of the first people who started the Muslim Brotherhood. There are other people like her in the United States government. The Muslim Brotherhood is being used as a proxy, a beachhead, a proxy to control certain Middle Eastern countries in the Middle East. And, this is what's going on. So, when I see, Anthony Weiner married to this woman, Huma Abedin, and he gets caught up in a scandal for cheating on his wife, and then she's connected to yada yada. I'm seeing this as this looked like a political move to remove her off the board by discrediting her husband, because of the fact that, like, yo, she's connected to this man, and he's a disgrace because of what he's doing, and she's connected to Hillary Clinton. That to me looked like a political attack to remove her from off the board. You know what I mean? Period. That's my opinion of it. When you get the chance, look into it. Look into Huma Abedin. Just the connection itself. Like, it was like one of those things where it was so many different pieces, and it had no relevance to me. Like, the first piece was Anthony Weiner cheated and his wife forgave him, and then the second piece was these random stories about how Huma, who was the assistant to Hillary Clinton, is in the spotlight. Like, they're throwing attacks on her, like, oh, yada yada, and I don't even know what the attacks are. And then the other piece, the frequency of when you see these articles pop up of her, like, who the hell is she? She's not really that important, like, what she's done. The other piece, then the connection, oh, this is the same woman who's the wife of Anthony Weiner. Something's funny about that. Then you start to draw the points. Oh, Anthony Weiner, the cheating scandal, his wife forgiving him. His wife is actually the assistant to Hillary Clinton. His wife is actually the daughter of the head of the Muslim Brotherhood. And she's married to him, and you see all these connections. Like, something's funny about that. And then the fact that they keep talking about it, they keep bringing up the actual issue of who she is, as far as her connection to Hillary Clinton. Not the fact that she's the daughter of such and such, but you know what I mean? And then you have these random rogue Republicans, whoever the fuck, who are like, oh, like Michelle Bachmann, she brought it up. She's like, yo, the United States government has been infiltrated by the members of the Muslim Brotherhood, and they reach up to the highest levels of power, and blah, blah, blah. And this woman, Huma Abedin, is one of the targets of these rants, by multiple different people. It's a very interesting connection to make. So when you get the chance, look into it. Huma Abedin, look into the Anthony Weiner scandal, and look into the Muslim Brotherhood and her connection to it. I think it's very important to understand it, to know. Alright, thank you, tubers, for watching. Take care, peace.